Let's get into it. So to start, just take a second. Seriously, look around you. Look at your phone, the table, the clothes you're wearing. Have you ever really thought about where it all began? If you trace it all the way back, I mean past the factories, past the shipping containers, every single thing we own, every object, starts in the exact same place, the natural world.
And here it is. This is that transformation in action. On the left, you've got this beautiful, pristine river, just nature doing its thing. And on the right, a forest that's been turned into timber, ready for us to use. This, right here, is the exact moment an element of the environment becomes what we call a resource.
So that brings up a really interesting question, doesn't it? When does a tree stop just being a tree and become timber? Or when does a rock become iron ore? It's not automatic. For something in nature to become a resource for us, three very specific things have to line up.
It's really a three-step checklist. First, we have to be able to get to it, so it has to be technologically accessible. Think about oil that's trapped miles under the ocean floor. If we don't have the technology to drill down there, it's not a resource for us. Not yet, anyway. Second, it has to be economically feasible. It can't cost more to get something out of the ground than what it's actually worth. And third, and this one's important, its use has to be culturally acceptable. A forest that a community considers sacred, for example, just isn't seen as timber from their perspective. So once something actually becomes a resource, we can kind of group it by what we use it for. At the most basic, fundamental level, you've got the essentials for life, things we absolutely cannot live without, like air, water, and soil. Then you've got the materials we use to build our entire world. Wood, marble, gold. And finally, you have the resources for energy that power everything we do, from the old stuff like coal to the new, like sunlight and wind.
Okay, now we're getting to what is probably the most critical distinction in this whole conversation. It all comes down to speed. You can think of it like a race. There's the speed at which nature can put things back, and then there's the speed at which we use them up. And frankly, right now, it's a race we are losing.
And it really just boils down to this. Renewable resources are the ones that nature can replenish on a human timescale. Think about it. Forests can regrow, fish populations can bounce back, the sun comes up every day. But non-renewable resources, things like coal and oil, well, they were forged over millions and millions of years. They're like a one-time inheritance from the planet. Once we use them up, they are gone, for good.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the catch. Even our renewable resources have a breaking point. Their very existence depends on nature's incredible, almost magical ability to restore and regenerate itself. You see, nature works in these perfect cycles where absolutely nothing is wasted. A leaf falls, it feeds the soil, and that soil nourishes a brand new tree. We have to learn to work with this beautiful system, not against it.
This quote just says it all perfectly. If we harvest timber faster than the forest can grow trees, we will eventually deplete the forest. See? So renewability isn't some kind of guarantee, it's a condition. If we break that rhythm of regeneration, we can actually turn a renewable resource into a finite one.
So what happens when we push past these natural limits, when we ignore the rules? Well, let's look at two real-world case studies that show just how serious the consequences of overexploitation can be.
Okay, our first story takes us to Punjab, back in the 1960s, with what really seemed like a miracle at the time. New, high-yield crops were introduced that promised to solve food shortages. But this miracle, it had a hidden cost. These new crops were incredibly thirsty. And to meet that demand, farmers started pumping huge amounts of water from deep underground.
Now let's fast forward to 2022, and this map shows you the result. See all those areas in red? That's where the groundwater level has absolutely plummeted. In some places, it's dropped more than 40 meters. To put that in perspective, that's like the height of a 13-story building. The water is literally disappearing beneath their feet. And if you need just one number to really grasp this crisis, here it is. Almost 80%. 80% of Punjab is now officially classified as overexploited. All that means is that water is being pumped out way faster than rain can ever put it back. They're on a path to a catastrophic water crisis.
Okay, so let's shift gears. We've talked about a resource we're running out of. Now let's talk about one where the process of making it is causing enormous harm. I mean, we can't imagine a modern city without cement, right? It's in our homes, our roads, our bridges. But making it is one of the most polluting industrial processes on the planet. It kicks up this fine dust that damages our lungs, hurts plants, and poisons the soil.
But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way, not at all. On the left, you're looking at the incredible Jaisalmer Fort, built way back in the 12th century from mud and sandstone. And on the right, that's a modern building in Oroville, built with really advanced earthen architecture. This shows us there's a path forward, one that blends that ancient wisdom with modern innovation to find sustainable solutions.
Okay, so we've seen the cost of overuse, we've seen the problems, but the story absolutely does not end there. There is a clear path forward, and it's one that combines timeless wisdom with decisive modern action.
Let's start with the wisdom part. There is an ancient Indian science. Some texts date back to the 10th century, and it's focused entirely on the holistic health of plants and soil. It's called Vriksha Ayurveda, and it's basically a complete playbook for sustainable farming. We're talking crop rotation, natural pest control, everything. It just goes to show you the knowledge for how to live sustainably has been with us for centuries. And if you want proof that this ancient wisdom still works today on a massive scale, look no further than the state of Sikkim. In 2016, it became the world's very first 100% organic state. And the results? They've been amazing. Local biodiversity is flourishing, tourism is up, and get this, farmers' incomes have grown by an average of 20%.
I mean, just look at this picture of the tea pickers in Sikkim. You're not just seeing a beautiful landscape here. You're looking at a thriving ecosystem. You're seeing proof of a community that shows a path where both the environment and the economy could win. Sikkim is now a global model for what is possible.
And you know, the path forward also includes incredible new technology. This thing you're looking at is the Bodla Solar Park in Rajasthan. It's one of the largest in the entire world. So instead of drilling deep into the earth for energy, we can now harvest clean, abundant power directly from the sun on a massive scale. This is what the future of energy can look like.
So when you boil it all down, what's really required is a fundamental shift in our mindset. We have to evolve from just being consumers of resources to becoming their stewards, actively working to restore those natural cycles, to regenerate what we've lost, and to build a future that is truly sustainable for everyone.
So I'm going to leave you with this really profound question, one that's inspired by the ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. It speaks of a simple but incredibly powerful idea, that our actions should be for the well-being of all. So the question is, has the time finally come for us to embrace that idea, not just as some beautiful philosophy, but as our most practical guide for our own survival? Thanks for joining me.